Hi there. There's so much to talk about. I'm breathing a little hard. I just did 20 push-ups so my arms will look good since I don't have long sleeves on today. So, first, we will win this. Always remember that. You are on the winning team. We will win this. There's so much going on, and it's easy for people to get discouraged. Don't get discouraged. If you're on the other side, get discouraged because you are losing and you will lose big. I'm not just talking about elections. I'm also just talking about the strategies and the actions of the Democrats are turning off a lot of other Democrats. So what can we do? Let's just look at us individually. And I've been thinking a lot about this and doing it myself. So here's some thoughts. First of all, don't follow stupid rules. The ones that are tougher, like opening up your business, that takes a lot more. But as an individual citizen, okay, like I've been hearing on the national news that in California or Los Angeles, because of what our incredibly idiotic mayor, Eric Garcetti, has done. He said you have to wear a mask outside. Well, that's not really true. There are signs for that at the beach, which is ridiculous. I won't wear a mask at the beach. I might, I don't know, have one with me and put it on as soon as they leave, take it off. But when I go outside, about half the people are wearing masks. Now, one of the things I do, so I'm a little bit obnoxious, is when I pass people with masks, I kind of just like, what's your problem? Because it's ridiculous. It is ridiculous. And I have a word for these people, sheeple. They're sheep. They're sheeple. And I will call them that. And certainly, if somebody tries to say anything to me about not wearing a mask, which they won't, but if they did, oh, I'm just waiting for it. I'm just waiting for it. So another thing I tell myself is that this is war. Now think about it. We're in a war right now. A war to preserve our freedoms, to preserve what we have as Americans, our way of life. But it's kind of a nice war compared to other wars because people aren't going off to die. Now you could say some people might die of the virus, but my personal belief is that we are not having an increase in the number of deaths of any reasonable amount. In the sense, when I say reasonable, that's probably not the right word. We're not having an increase in deaths other than the usual deaths we get from flus and all other kinds of things, because most of this is older people with comorbidities. So when I say we're not going out with guns and people getting killed, but I do remind myself that we're at war. So my job is to speak out whenever possible. So let me just give you an example of that. Because of my work I'm on the Santa Monica Canyon Civic Association Board. So I get mailings. So from our local favorite cop, I won't give his name because I really like him, but he's part of the West LA Beach Detail. And he's come and spoken to our group, and I've had nice chats with him. But he sent this email out, and it basically said, due to beach parking lots being closed, people have resorted to parking all over PCH, that's Pacific Coast Highway, and flooding the adjacent neighborhoods and creating traffic hazards. And there are many cases of people drinking and smoking narcotics while playing loud music and littering. The residents have respectfully asked to have police and Department of Transportation focus on those areas out of concern that someone may be gravely injured due to the unsafe parking and other factors articulated above. So it went on, and it had gone to various people. It finally went to the head of our group, and she forwarded it to everybody. And I read it and just like... So then I thought, do I really care what these people think of me? Do I have to be tame? And I thought, you know what? I don't give a... Oh, excuse my language, but you know what I mean, what I was going to say. So I just wrote back, copying everybody in the group, thinking, they don't like me, I don't care. I mean, I really felt it. I said, well, there's a simple solution to this. Open the damn beach parking lots. Wasn't that supposed to happen around now? I am so sick of this idiocy regarding closures of our outdoor spaces. And I sent it out, and you have to remember, this area was one of the lowest areas to vote for Trump. We had 12% in this particular area where this council is. 12% went to Trump in 2016. More so than any other area in California. I didn't really want to look at my email, because even though I felt strong about that, there's another part of my brain, I guess, that doesn't want that. Who knows? I noticed I didn't want to look at my email. Finally, I did. And one of the very liberal but active women on the group responded. Brilliant. And nobody else said anything negative. So that's interesting, because that says, at least with virtually all those other people were Democrats. Nobody said anything about what I said, because it's simple, okay? So I tweeted about this, not about this particular thing, but just open the there's a simple solution to this. Open the damn parking lots. Because when you open the parking lots, there's not going to be a problem. But see, one of the things that happens, and by the way, then I called the police officer because he left his cell and left a long voicemail. And he called me back and he said, I'm with you 100% on this. We shouldn't be doing this. And we're trying not to harass the people. I said, please don't be like the Gestapo here, or like the Nazi guards, because you shouldn't be harassing people. You should tell the people who complain to the authorities or whoever is keeping these beach parking lots closed, because that would solve the problem. Don't harass the people who have no place to park. So Wednesday I did, not Wednesday, Thursday, because Wednesday they started opening things up around here on the beaches and the parks. So it was kind of an emotional day for me on Thursday, because the Palisades Park, where I do my running and jogging, was open. So I could walk along there and overlook Pacific Coast Highway and see the ocean and see people out there. And I felt a little bit choked up, but it wasn't from gratitude. Because here's the thing, I'm not going to be grateful that these idiots have finally taken the fence down and reopened the park. That belonged to us from the get-go. Our tax dollars paid for it. So it was a combination of just strong emotion, sadness, anger, mostly anger, but not gratitude. I hate, oh, I'm so grateful it's open. It's like, are you kidding me? This was something that should have never been taken from us. They have no right to do this. So I'm not going to be grateful when you give it back to me, you little tin pot dictator. Ugh. So, but here was the interesting thing. Then after I did my walk and my run, I thought, well, let me do some reconnaissance on the beach. So I went driving down to the place where the rings are. And I pulled into the parking lot, which is right there where I usually park. I thought, well, that's interesting, but I wanted to take a video, and I did, which is weird because the rings don't have rings on them, and the rope place doesn't have a rope, but there were people out, and then there was a stupid sign saying, you know, I mean, it was really stupid. You got to have social distancing, and you're supposed to wear a mask on the beach. I'm like, no way. I tried to figure out how to get that video on Twitter, but I couldn't, so I don't know how to get a video on Twitter. But anyway, when I went back to my car, there was a woman there, but she wasn't writing citations. She's some kind of Santa Monica parking. And I said, I'm leaving. And she said, you're not supposed to park here. And I said, well, where can I park? Where am I supposed to park? And she said, well, you gotta like drive up the street and find a place to park and then walk to the beach. Okay. Do you think that the residents and not that there's any businesses, any of those people are gonna like all these people parking there? Just like the people who live in Malibu and areas like that along Pacific Coast Highway. Okay? Don't be polite about it. Park wherever, okay? And if they say something to you or they don't like it, well, too bad, okay? Complain and get these parking lots open. But when I was driving home, because I have a beautiful home here, that's why I wouldn't want to leave California, because I could almost be a hermit here in this beautiful home that I have. And I wanted to be back home. I guess it was all the emotions of this idiocy. And then I thought, wow, I wonder how many people will be developing agoraphobia. That's fear of open spaces. Because if people are indoors a lot, you get out of practice of being outdoors and being around people. Are we going to create a lot of people with serious mental and emotional issues? Yes, I think so. This is not healthy for people. I mean, I just noticed it in myself. I mean, I'll get out of it, but there's a part of me that just wants to be safe. Be here. And when I say be safe, it's not like safe from a virus, but just, it's easy. You can just get comfortable doing your own, I don't mind being alone and doing my own thing. So that gave me something to think about. Okay, so let's get back to tactics. You don't follow stupid rules. So you don't wear masks. I think it was in 1973, pretty sure it was 1973, when the 55-mile-an-hour speed limit was passed due to the gas lines and, the problems with the Arab embargo. And, it took a long time to take a trip. I don't know what the speed limit was before, because I hadn't had my driver's license that long. But going at 55 miles an hour took a long, long time compared to like going 70. But what happened was people started ignoring that. Everybody went faster than the 55-mile-an-hour speed limit. So the cops would, the California Highway Patrol would give tickets, but not if you went 60, not if you even went 65. You kind of had to go 70. And I always just made sure there was a faster car on the road than my car. So that's how I did it. And I also learned from that, never look at a police officer. Because there was a car that sped past me. And I think I was going 65 in my little Volkswagen. And police car, or the highway patrol, and pulled that car over. And I made the mistake of looking as I went by. And the police officer waved me down. And I thought, oh my God, we made eye contact. I can't just keep going. But what if I'd just been looking the other way? So that was my first speeding ticket. But it was a lesson learned. When cops have somebody pulled over, don't look. Don't make eye contact. And okay, so here's another thing. Think of these mayors and governors and the Democrats as paper tigers. They're not real. They can't really do this to us. They can't control everybody. So don't follow the rules or treat it like the 55-mile-an-hour speed limit, which no longer exists, but because of nobody was following it. But in your mind, don't give them the power. And then, of course, give your support. It's very important to give your voting support. And if you have money, contribute money to those who are on the front lines, the ones who are fighting these battles. So we all do what we can do. But in the meantime, talk to your friends, talk to other people, say, I'm not going to be a sheeple. Talk to them. Because you'd be surprised how many people just haven't really thought about it. And when you say it, or they kind of feel uneasy about it, and when you say it, it clicks for them, okay? So talk to your circle of friends and family. But one of the things I've noticed psychologically, because this doesn't affect me. I was always kind of getting in trouble when I was a kid by breaking the rules. But I see that some people, there's a tendency to think of yourself as a child. Now, you may not be realizing that you're thinking of yourself as a child. But in my mind, here's when you're thinking of yourself as a child. When your attitude is, I don't like that, you know, I'm not going to vote for you. And I'll have some people had said that about Trump, and I'll get to that in a minute. But it's completely counterproductive, completely. Because yes, vote for Trump. He's the one fighting for us. Even if you don't like some of his policies, overall, what? That's crazy to not vote for Trump, okay? But the other one is to either, you know, to feel trapped like a child. Because think about it. If you are a child, you really have no choice, okay? When there's a rule given to you, you just kind of have to go along. You don't really have power to do anything. So whenever I hear anybody saying, they're doing this, and they use the word they, like some group out there, I think, did they have older people in their lives, like their parents, kind of plan things behind their back? Because I'm not aware of that happening with me, so I never think of that. I don't give these people power. I've known people like them. I've interacted with people like them. They are people like anybody else. Don't give them that power, okay? You can outsmart them. And when we stick together, we can really outsmart them. And that's key. We must stick together. Okay, now I want to say something about this shutdown. And I've said it before, but we absolutely, and this is something we've all learned from this, never again. I've thought a lot, and maybe in the future I'll have more to say about that. I have thought a lot about how did this happen, okay? Pretty much everybody was on board to shut down for a short while, to flatten the curve. But why did we believe those models? And one of the things that's fascinating to me is how difficult, in a sense, we're all sheeple, okay? In a sense, including nations, how difficult it has been to withstand the pressure to shut down. I don't think President Trump wanted to shut down, but he finally had to, politically. He had to. And look at all the countries that shut down, except Sweden. But look at the flack Sweden got. And then trying to emerge out of this shutdown, even when the time for shutting down has clearly passed everywhere here in the US. The time for shutting down is over. But how do you emerge out of this? The goalposts change. I mean, this happened with the climate change thing. It was we don't want to get warmer. But then that went away. Then it was, we don't want climate change, whatever that is. Notice there's always models involved in that. So, as best I can tell, and this has to do with Fauci and Bill Gates and WHO and this whole, which I haven't completely unraveled in my own mind. But these people, oh, and that Neil Ferguson guy, they had that model. Why were we listening to that model? That's just, I don't know, there's weird stuff going on there. And let me tell you, I repeat, I now detest Anthony Fauci. I detest him. Let me just ask a question. I've never heard anybody mention this. Why is he still head of, I forget what the name he's head of, but why is he still the head? He's 79 years old. That doesn't happen anywhere else. Like most corporations, when you become 65, you have to step down from being the head person. In colleges, you become a professor emeritus. You don't keep teaching, you lighten your load. Somebody said something like, well, you can't fire him or whatever. But he's being paid for by taxpayers. Why does he? It's not like a Supreme Court justice where you can stay on until you die. Why is he still there in the lead position at our expense when he is, oh my God, his policies are so bad. Here, let me give you an example. I mean, California is screwed. Okay, I just read that California State University, these are 23 university campuses. So Eric and Robert, these are two of my listeners. We went to Cal Poly Pomona together, and that was part of the California State University system. We all took electrical engineering and took classes together. So I'm delighted that they still listen to me. And Eric, I mean, we correspond almost every day on Twitter. We're liking each other's tweets or whatever. But anyway, this whole 23 university campus system is going to go online for the fall term. This is almost 500,000 students. I can't even express how insane this is. Insane. How many college students have died from this? Coronavirus? It said, this is a Reuters piece, it was the timing of Cal State's announcement that came as a surprise. Other colleges and universities have said their decisions would come later in the summer. And this is top U.S. infectious diseases expert, Dr. Anthony Fauci, has warned that a second wave of infections is a near certainty in the fall, which helped influence Cal State's decision, according to the Chancellor's statement earlier this week. Dr. Fauci, economic dictator of the U.S. in some people's minds. Why are we listening to this man? Now, I already disliked him intensely the way he dissed hydroxychloroquine. What is with these people? Do they not want people to get better? Do they not want people to get better? So just before doing this, I was watching One America News because I like it. It's a 1-hour summary of the news. And there was an interview with a Dr. Yvette Lozano, Lozano. She's the founder of the Lozano Medical Clinic in Dallas, Texas. And she has had a 100% success rate with hydroxychloroquine. Now, I didn't get her number of patients, but she said she was surprised because some people were in pretty bad shape. And she said in 24 hours, there was a big decrease in symptoms, and 48 hours later, basically, they were okay. And she said some of them I thought were not going to make it. But one of the problems she had, because of the FDA, now they're in this cahoots thing. It's like, Dr. Hung, what happened to you? Why did you pass that rule saying you have to go to a hospital to get hydroxychloroquine? That's so disgusting. It should be available. So she was having difficulty in getting the pharmacies to fill the prescriptions because they wanted to know what it was for. And she said, they're not supposed to ask. It's up to the doctor to prescribe. But because of all the things going on and what the left has been doing and the Fauci crowd and the CDC and the FDA, what is with those people? But anyway, the pharmacies she was having difficulty getting the pharmacies to fill the prescription. So she called on a representative state senator, a Republican state senator, Bob Hall, for help. And he and a couple others put pressure on the state pharmacy board, which then backed down and allowed her to prescribe hydroxychloroquine. And let me tell you why I'm bothered by that. I mean, because one of the things that's extremely important to me personally, and has long been a cause, is my desire to control my own health and treatments, whatever that is. That it bothers me that I have to get a prescription for something. If I've researched it and I know what it is, I want to be able to get it. If there's a treatment I want to be able to do it. I don't need someone whom I don't think knows as much about my health as I do, or does the research that I do, to tell me I can't do it. And if they know stuff, I don't mind discussing it with them, but I don't think of them as some kind of god or expert. Now, I don't know, if I break my arm and they want to set it, I don't know anything about that. I consider them the expert. But for more systemic things regarding health, I want to decide that. I want to be the one to do it. So in my mind, I thought, if I ever got this coronavirus, I just want to call up, say I want a prescription for hydroxychloroquine, AZT, the azithromycin, and I already take zinc anyway, and so that's what I would want. And the fact that I can't do that, I'm not worried about getting sick. okay? But it really bothers me. And in fact, on What's Up With That, which is a site that I get in my email, and it's a long time, really good site for those people who really want to look at the science and the engineering regarding climate change issues. So it's put on by Anthony Watts, W-A-T-T-S, great name for energy. But anyway, someone had done a really detailed research paper on hydroxychloroquine and how effective it's been, and also how it's been prevented from people from getting it. I had to stop reading that article. I felt so bothered that I thought, I'm not going to be able to sleep. I haven't been able to read that full article because I've seen bits and pieces, but to have it all laid out in one place, I hate Dr. Fauci. Can I say that? I hate him. He is an evil, evil man. Now, let me talk about something else about our president. And Andrew Klavan, he's part of the Ben Shapiro group, the Daily Wire. I really enjoy mostly Michael Knowles, because Michael Knowles talks a lot about what's going on in LA. So if you want to keep up with what's going on with LA in terms of the mayor and the closures and various things, he's a really good one. So I listen to him, but I also like to listen now to Andrew Klavan and Matt Walsh, and only occasionally Ben Shapiro. But Andrew Klavan and others have done this as well. He's pointed out that President Trump has not expanded the federal government. That is huge. That is huge, people. Historically, this has never happened before. Never. Whenever we've had a national crisis, the federal bureaucracy has always grown. Do you notice on the left, they say, oh, Trump had no plan, or some will make the ridiculous claim that he's responsible for all these deaths. So who are they? They're like little children wanting the federal government to solve all their problems, to do something, I don't know what they think they would do, but to make this virus go away. And Trump didn't do that. Instead, he did it just the way he's supposed to, even though I'm stuck with this stupid governor. I mean, the Democrats here in California. But he put power down at the local level. And he helped expedite things. How can we help? What can we do? I mean, this is huge. This is huge. He's helping to remake how our federal government responds in crises like this. He's done exactly the right thing, constitutionally and every other way. This is amazing. This is amazing. And history books will write about this. They have to write about this. On the other hand, look at the Democrats. What are they doing? Oh my God. We have power. You can't do that. And then they make these ridiculous detailed rules, even on how you should reopen. Like, we're little children, and we have to be told well, you shouldn't even do that to little children. You got to give little children autonomy some places. But detailed ways in which you have to reopen. You know, you can do this, you can do that, you can't do this, you can't do that. Like we're idiots. So if you can't see what the Democrats are doing, they are showing their true colors. And they don't really care, apparently, that people are out of work. Not the big people. When I say big people, whatever that means. But think about this. Big businesses, except the airlines, I guess, but big businesses can still go on. So you still have the Walmarts and the Costco. And oh my God, have you ever thought about how much money Jeff Bezos is making from Amazon? Wow. It's got to be huge. But whatever. But it's the small businesses, the small places that have all these restrictions. They would rather, first of all, they don't know math, they don't know numbers. Oh my God, okay? They think that, we can just give out money to these people, make them dependent on the government, on the federal government. So, boy, oh boy, I will be writing Congress, I will be writing to the White House, no money to these states, okay? They need to feel the pain, because what Eric Garcetti is doing to Los Angeles, people will leave. This is, what is he thinking? This is for the movie industry, all these places. It's like, you want them to go to Texas, Georgia, Florida, someplace else? They will. They'll leave. Do you think people here don't want to go out to dinner with friends? What an idiot. So don't do anything to help these people. And then the public health commissioner, that sickly looking woman who, as Michael Knowles pointed out, he looked up her degrees. They weren't even really good medical degrees of any sort. Sort of like a PhD in some kind of sociology stuff. And she's getting paid for $465,000 a year? And she said, well, we shouldn't be open for another 3 months. It's like, who are these people? Okay? And why do all these people in government still have their jobs? Why do we pay them so much? And then they get these huge pensions. That's got to change too. Nobody has that kind of security in the private sector. So we got to fix that. I'm not sure how we fix that, but when this is over, we've got to start changing some rules. So, oh gosh, I've already talked a long time. But let me just say a few things about vaccines. I tweeted about this. The vaccine will not be mandatory. I was distressed to find how many people got spun up. But Michael, Ghost in the Machine, and we wrote our nice little comments to Tony Heller's video. He took a little snippet of something Trump said, which he didn't actually say. He never said they'd be mandatory. What he's doing in terms of vaccines, Operation Warp Speed, is he's not doing things in series, but rather in parallel. So if a vaccine becomes available, he wants to make sure everything's in place to get it out there. And one of the ways in which you do that is he'd mobilize the military. But people apparently just freaked out, at least in their responses to to Tony Heller's short snippet. They freaked out like, you're going to be forced. And it's like, oh my God, don't be weird, people. And I'll never vote for Trump. And it's like, really? I wrote to one, I said, really? You want Biden instead? Now maybe they just think, I'm just so mad, I'm not going to vote. But it's like, get a grip, okay? Think of the big picture. Be smart about this, okay? He never said it, and of course he wouldn't do that, okay? And if let's say the thought was in his head that maybe that would happen, he'd back down. We would all send messages to the White House saying, no, 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 no. And he'd back down. He has done that before. Come on. He's just trying to show that he's making the federal system work. So if we do get a vaccine. But I got to tell you, been pretty pro-vaccine, but I'm not taking this vaccine when it comes out. I mean, if this were really, truly deadly like Ebola, Ebola was spreading, yeah, I'd like the vaccine. It's worth the risk. But vaccines need to be out there a long time. Okay, now if it's for something really bad, then I'd take it for sure. But this is a coronavirus. We've never had a coronavirus vaccine. What if it does something and we don't find out until years later that it's done something damaging? I don't want any part of it. And I definitely will not participate in contact tracing. Why would you do contact tracing for a virus that most people don't even really know that they have? That's nuts. Now, AIDS made sense, or HIV, because that was deadly, and you needed to let those people know so they wouldn't go and infect other people. Or even a long time ago with syphilis, when there was no treatment for syphilis. Contact tracing was important for stuff like that. But not for this, not for flu and coronavirus, or colds or whatever. No. Don't let them track us. We are not China. And Democrats are operating on the Chinese model. You just think about it. They are operating on the Chinese model. And I will close with that. Actually, I have one more thing to say. I was talking to Kathy. And remember last time I mentioned, hey, remember when your exhale, it's 38,000 parts per million? Well, you might forget that number, but you can remember this. Every time you exhale, there's roughly 100 times as much CO2 in your exhale as there is in the ambient air. Okay? So if CO2 goes up slightly in the ambient air, it's not going to go up 100 times. No, even close. No way, no how. I mean, it's never, no. But whenever you exhale, you have 100 times as much. So can you imagine, being indoors with the windows closed? There's a lot of CO2. I never liked those exercise places when I go to Yoga Works or something, and they would have not enough fresh air. Okay, I want to breathe oxygen. That's another reason why I don't want to wear a mask. I'm just kind of breathing in my CO2. I don't want to breathe more of that. I want the fresh air. Well, so remember that 100 times more every time you exhale. Happy birthday, Lindsay, my darling, precious niece. 36 years old today. And she's having fun at the beach with her hubby. She's quite the adventurer. One of the many things I love about her. Talk to you next week. Oh, and I'm up to 1.91 subscribers. So some of you have subscribed. So numbers creeping up to 2,000. I like that. Bye.